Hey YouTubers, once again this is Andrew with CopyFeed TV. I'm bringing you a Photoshop tutorial today, and what we're going to be talking about is how to remove minor skin blemishes from any of your photos. This is a beginner tutorial, so we're only going to be using a couple different tools today, and we're going to show you how to smooth some skin out using just some of the healing tools. We're not going to get into any of the advanced stuff until some of the later videos. But if you haven't seen any of our videos before, go ahead and like and subscribe at the end of the video if you like this tutorial. And feel free to email us your questions and comments. Leave some comments below. Tell your friends about us. But we're going to bring you the skin blemish tutorial in different stages. That way we can go from intermediate to advanced. And then we'll be doing other video categories as well for your photos. So I'm using Photoshop CS5 on a PC. I prefer CS5 instead of CS6 just because of my tool layouts and some of the stuff is in a spot that I'm used to using it. So that's what we'll be starting with. And what you want to do is you want to go up into your file menu and go to open and find a photo that you want to correct. For this, I chose a stock photo just to give you an example. And right now, as you can see, there are some skin blemishes. There, everybody has them, and if you have a photo that's really important to you, if it's a wedding photo or some kind of photo with your children or whatever, if it's important to you and it shows your face up close or any other parts of your body that has blemishes, you can go ahead and remove those and still make the skin look natural. We won't be getting into the airbrushing this video, but we'll show you that as well, and you can smooth and get your skin as perfect as you want like they do in the magazines. But for this tutorial, let's go ahead and focus on these two tools. I'm going to use the spot healing brush tool. It's on your left hand side in your toolbar, and as you can see, all these blemishes here, I'm going to go ahead and remove them. Now it's important that you check the size of your brush, and the reason being is if it's too large of an area, you will actually cause more distortion than what's necessary. You can also go up to the left hand side and you can check your spacing, your hardness, things like that. Sometimes if it's set too hard, it'll put a circle outline right where you stamp it to heal that area. It just depends on how you do it. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and just remove some of these blemishes by clicking instead of swiping. And each one that I click on, it gets a little bit better and kind of gets the skin tone memory there and starts healing it. And this is just real quick. This is a very quick and easy tool. It's not a very advanced tool, but it's meant to just get the job done and start making it look a little bit more natural. So there are times you'll click where you'll see you'll be like, man, this looks like I'm putting a blemish back on there, and that's just because of the memory of the spot healing brush. Sometimes it acts kind of goofy. It actually gets a little bit more complex than that, but let's just say you got to kind of play around with it and figure out what what areas are going to do that and what are not. And we'll get into that later on in a more advanced tutorial where the different lines and things are. But for right now, all we're doing is taking care of some acne with the spot healing brush and just clicking around. Okay, so now that took a few seconds, and the skin's already starting to look better. Now, one more thing I want to tell you: if you're messing with photos like this is a JPEG, and you're messing with it without layers, which we haven't gone into and we won't in this video. What you want to do is have a copy of this somewhere else, because what can happen is if you start messing around and you get to a point where you just don't like it, or you've done more damage than what you have fixed, then if you save it or let's just say something happens and you can't get back to the original photo, well, now you have a photo that's even more messed up than you had to start with. And that's never good. So make sure you have a copy of this somewhere in a folder, and then have a separate folder for Photoshop. I use one, I use multiple folders for Photoshop so that I know that I have copies of everything in case for some reason I make a mistake or make it look worse. So that's what I would do. That's just as a reminder. Now we've done the spot healing brush, and there is one other thing that I wanted to show you just in this tutorial. When it comes to removing blemishes, there is a tool called the rectangular marquee tool. A lot of people commonly refer to it as the selection tool because it pretty much selects anything or area that you want in Photoshop, um, in square or rectangle. So what you can do is it's hard to see a really difficult blemish right now because most of them have been removed, but there's a lot of smaller bumps. So what I like to use is I like to take the rectangular marquee tool or quick selection tool and select just one small bump. Now I'm going to zoom in so that you can see I've selected this real tiny bump. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click inside of this selection and I'm going to go to fill. And now you want to make sure that content aware is selected up in the top menu. Content aware. Blending mode needs to be normal and opacity needs to be 100%. Once you click OK, it's going to fill in that content. Now, as you notice, that bump went away. And now you can click outside of that selection and it's gone. You can do the same for this bump. And so now I usually select, let's say, this one right here. And I do small sections. You don't want to do large sections. I do small ones. Now once I have this menu up right here for the content where I just go ahead and hit enter on your keyboard and it'll just get, it does it automatically. Saves a little bit of time. Now you can see this ridge right here, and you want to do small areas at a time. If you do too much, it gives too much of a hard pattern. Now this is zoomed in, so when you zoom out and you go to the regular size of the actual photo, it will look even better, and you won't see all the areas in which this tool has used. Now in this area right here, you can see where the spot healing brush has made an indentation because of the hardness that I had it on. So what you can do is, if you want to remove that, you can actually select it small amounts at a time and see it starts taking that away. Now that's something that happens, and you can deal with it or not. It's up to you. You can always smooth it out using other tools, but for this purpose of the video, we're just showing you the two separate tools: the content aware tool with the selection and the spot healing brush. Now I know some of you are watching this and thinking, well, this seems really easy, but at the same time, I want a smoother look. Don't worry, we're going to get to that in the later videos. We're going to show you how to use your blur and your surface blur anyway, and how to set your radiant and your thresholds and all the complicated nerdy stuff that comes with Photoshop. We definitely are going to bring it to you here at CopyFeed TV. But this is what it looks like, still natural, after we've done just a few minutes worth of work. So I'm not going to save this one, but what I want to do is I want to show you two different photos, the same picture that I have done, using as an example. So I've already preset and saved them. This is the original that I have titled original. This is what it looked like before. And now we can open what I did a few minutes before I started filming this video, and this is what it looks like after. So I did the exact same things that I showed you in this tutorial. I used the spot healing brush, I used the quick selection tool, and I right clicked and did fill for content aware. Now, two more things. When you go to save this picture, if you want to keep the original, or if you want to put it in a format that works for you, Photoshop will always allow you to save it in different modes, and these modes are here. So if it's something that you want to edit later, you can. If you want to make it to where you can't edit it later, you can do that as well. The problem is that once you do that, you need to start saving it in multiple formats. This way you can you can play around with each different function. Some of them will not allow you to do use certain tools in Photoshop, and some of them will. I've saved mine in JPEG just for the purpose of this video because they're easier to work with, and you can continually alter them without worrying about any of the messages that Photoshop will give you, and asking you to do this and that beforehand. So that's what it looks like after, and this is what I started with. This is just using the spot healing brush and this quick selection tool. Um, I have one more photo that I want to show you. This one's a little bit more subtle. Now, I have this stock photo here, and as you can see, uh, both of these ladies' skin look pretty good. Nothing really going on there. However, if you zoom in, and some women in their photos, you know, they have their makeup done and they want to look good. If you can see right there, we've got a little acne mark right there. So when you use the spot healing brush on an area like this, you see how large the spot healing brush is. If I was to click that, you can definitely see the distortion that it used. Now watch. If I take it back away, there you go. So what do you want to do is you want to take the spot healing brush down as far as it would go to the size of the area that you're working on, right about there. Now once you have done that, it won't take both sides of the surface from the nose to where the cheek dimple comes in. And you can go in there and click, and it'll actually do a little bit better. You can click a couple times and get that in there, and then it looks a little better. Now, most people aren't going to see that from this far away anyway when you actually have the picture at 100%, but you know, some people notice and they want to remove that. You can even do the mole on the arm right here, and it's gone. I mean, different things like that. You can just tweak and edit your photos. So this is an example of how the spot healing brush works and how the quick selection tool works with fill and content aware. If you like these videos, if you want to subscribe, please hit the like or subscribe button. And leave us your comments or send us your emails if you have a request. If you want to know, you know, how to remove backgrounds or whatever it is you need to know in Photoshop, just get in touch with us and let us know. And CopyFeed TV will be bringing you more and more videos this month on all kinds of different issues when it comes to Google Plus and Android versus the Apple iOS. Vladimir Stafford, the creator of CopyFeed TV, will bring you a very in-depth and detailed tech review on solid-state hard drives and different things like that. And so we look forward to this month. We look forward to making more videos, and we hope you enjoy.